Joffrion is acting temple head of Sacred Fire Temple of Fort Worth, Texas. He is managing editor of PaganNews.com under his craft name of Emmerich Greywolf. In 2010, Reverend Joffrion was awarded the Iron Pinnacle Award, representing Earth, the realm of stability, integration, and wisdom, recognizing achievement in teaching or writing. Reverend Michael is Assistant Dean of First Degree Students on the Witch School platform and oversees the Order of Esoteric Mystery Schools. Reverend Michael is degreed in several Wiccan traditions as well as the Order of the Golden Dawn and a longtime member of the Masonic Lodge of Texas as a Master Mason, Scottish Rite Mason, and Knights Templar. Recently, Reverend Michael was elected as first officer to the Texas Local Council of Covenant of Goddess. Please welcome Reverend Michael Joffrion from the great state of Texas.
You know, I have to say, because since I have my 15 minutes of fame here to say it, I have looked in all the annals of wisdom that I can find for the link between Wicca and belly dancing, and there is none. I've decided it's like chocolate. Nobody cares. They just love it. It's like watching the dance of a cobra. Okay? You're going to watch that cobra knowing it's going to get you. So I bow to the years of all these belly dancers. It's marvelous. I love to watch it. It keeps reminding me of that Jerry Lewis song, "Come on, Pretty Mama, there's a whole lot of shaking going on." I think it's great. You know, I want to thank Lady Stephanie and Reverend Mike for asking me here to speak to you guys. It's, God, what a beautiful place. When they showed up in Fort Worth. Of course, I was quite honored to have him there, as I was everybody. Reverend Mike's kind of like my happy place. You know, I don't ever see him not smiling. And if I got in a bad mood or something like that, I just sort of went to my little happy place, you know, with him. And so, anyway, I'll get on with what I was going to say today. Unlike Lady Tracy, I'm not as loved. But that's all right. Those that know me know that I'm not quite human either. So I come from a military family. My family has served in the military of this great United States and others since 1604. We came to the United States in 1604. We're one of the 10 families that founded Point Coupé in Louisiana. Every male in my family served in the military since 1604 on my father's side, and before that they were part of the Knights Templars movement of Friday the 13th. And on my mother's side, it was a little bit shadier. They were part of the Hunods. Y'all probably know those more as the Huns, when we roamed across Europe and raped and pillaged. So being a soldier is in my DNA. And I remember one of my jobs when I was in service was, and it's been my talent and forte over the years, I see the things that other people don't see. That's always been my skill. I remember one of my, the colonel will understand this, you know, when you see a scrambled eggs coming to you, you know, or the scrambled eggs talk to you, that's the guys and the ladies with the hat with the little gold stuff on. Whatever they ask you, you just make sure you take the time to answer it, right? And he told me one time, he said, "Why are you so intense?" I said, "Because I don't like taking the same land twice." And I've kept to that all these years. I don't like paying for the same real estate twice. It's too precious. So on the way here, I had prepared before this little teaching and stuff I'd worked hard on, got all the schedule changed, and I thought, what am I going to say? What am I going to talk about? Well, one of the things that has happened over the years is the goddess has taught me patience. Reluctantly, on my part, I'm not a patient man, but she's taught it to me, and it's come with hard lessons and a few easy ones. But I did something this time that I have never done, and I'm going to admit that right today. And I said, I'm going to trust in the goddess, and I'm going to trust in the ancestors and the holy ones to say something through me this weekend and reveal to me what I need to say. I'm just going to wait. And so all the way here, I'm going, what are you going to say, Mike? And I got in the hotel with Gary, and I'm thinking like, Gary's like, what are you going to say? I go, no. Reverend Terry was like, what are you going to talk about? I don't really know. And then it started coming to me as I was listening to the baton meeting and other things, because I was patient. And I listened, and I kept seeing this thing over and over in my mind through the weekend about ships and sailing and things like this. Well, I thought, well, you know, because I've kind of been taking sailing lessons lately, and I've got this big cruise planned with this buddy of mine, just bought a 65-foot sailboat. We're going to go out and terrorize the ocean for a little bit. And I kept thinking, well, maybe that's it. But I kept seeing all these analogies, you know, sacred sea, the ocean. You know, there's too many things adding up here, right? And my ability to see the things that other people don't see. So because of that, I started hearing those little, you know, it's like when somebody's talking along and all of a sudden that monotone voice kind of jumps up and then it goes right back down. That's that little section you got to listen to, right? And we talked about the past, witch wars, issues, problems, rumors, all these kinds of things. So I'm going to give you my opinion of what I think this weekend is. You can run with that, or you can put it up on the shelf, or you can pull the chain on it, okay? Everybody's been talking about 2012 as a year of transition. To some people, it's the end of the world on December the 12th. Well, if it is, I know that Reverend Terry and I have a big party planned. Y'all can come see us, and we'll put it on. Right? If it's not, and I don't suspect that it is, we have a lot of work ahead of us. The Correllian boat has been at dock for a long time, okay? And it's been sitting there, and it's being scraped and painted and prepared and made seaworthy. And if any of you have ever, if any of you have ever been in the Navy, you'll find out that a lot of work goes into a ship to prepare it to go to sea, okay? And while you're at sea, it's a continuous, ongoing job, keeping that ship tip-top, all right? Well, this ship has been ported for a long time now, and there's been a lot of caution, and there's been a lot of perseverance, and there's been a lot of waiting on the ancestors and the goddess and the spirit to move us into the direction that we wanted to go. Now, for those of you that don't know anything about my background, I came out of Gardnerians, okay? And I went, the only group that was close to me was in Houston, Texas. Well, that's a 4.5 hour, 5 hour drive. And when I talked to the lady who's long since dead now of cancer, she said, I'll take you on as a student if you come here every weekend for 3 years. I said, every weekend? Yep. Well, let me tell you, my Harley burned the road. Okay? I lit that big machine up and I burned that road. And I kept my faith and I went there every weekend for 3 years and got through it. And when I'd gone through some other traditions and their degrees and stuff, you know, I saw what I felt were fallacies and problems and issues in these and their dogmatic rule and things like that. And I was looking for something kinder, gentler, okay? Something more open, more public, you know, more mainstream. And that's when I ended up speaking to poor Don. And the conversation went wonderful, and everything else from there just kind of flowed. And not one time has he ever broken what he originally told me on that day. I'm sure I remember every word, you know. And he's kept his word. He's kept true to everything he told me that day, and it's been a wonderful ride. It's also been a hell of a ride, okay? Because when you're sitting in the port, it's real easy to get shot, okay? Because you're just sitting there in the water like a duck. And let's face it, a boat's or a ship's ultimate goal is to do what? To set to sea, to get out in the water, to challenge the waves, to go out there and go where no other man has gone before. And that's the goal of those people that get on board those ships. Well, our ship's been tethered. And you know, like anything else, it's tethered for a long, you know, it starts kind of jerking at that chain, won't go. And it's been sound wisdom and good leadership that's held us at bay till the time was right. But I believe this is our year, 2012. I don't think the end of the world's going to happen, but I think the Correllian ship's about to sail. We are undisputably the biggest mainstream Wiccan unit out there in the world. But when you go to some places and you say, well, what are you part of? What? That's because they don't live outside of those little Gardnerian circles, or those little eclectic Wiccan circles. The us four and no more kind of groups, you know? 13, one of them's the high priestess, and then 12 others, and that's it. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? Well, here's what we've got to do, folks, in my opinion. We got to pull in our ropes, and we got to let this ship sail. And each one of us have a duty. We've got priests and priestesses and lords and ladies, right reverends, most worshipfuls. We've got structure. We've got YouTube. We got everything everybody else wants and doesn't have. But we're too busy arguing, or picking in, or trying to see what somebody else is doing. And we need to stop that. We need to get on board with the program. And the program is growing this tradition. Because there's a lot of Wiccans out there. Believe me, where I live, people say, Texas? You know, boy. Well, in my city of Fort Worth, Tarrant County, that area, there is just a ton of pagans out there. So when I got into this thing, I said, you know, my goal is to build stepping stones of Correllian all across the state. I know what my place is in this tradition. I know the things that I need to do with my temple, my area, my geographic region. I know the things I need to do for Lord Don, even though he doesn't know them all yet. Because I communicate with him a lot. Now, the thing you have to understand about Lord Don is he didn't get to communicate back all the time. But I guarantee he's getting my phone calls and my emails. Because eventually he'll be around and talking to me, and you know, he's a busy man, and that's fine. Because you know, the universe answers in 3 ways. Yes, no, later. You know that? God just doesn't always give you what you want when you want it. Sometimes it's yes, and sometimes it's no, and sometimes it's later. Most of the time it's later, with good reason. So, I would like for you to take away today from everything that you've heard, because everybody's had something to say that's important, that's a piece of this puzzle, okay? It's like faith with all the different groups, okay? Whether they're Judeo, Christian, Muslim, Eastern, pagan, everybody's got a slice of the pie. They just don't have the entire pie. But that little slice that they have has got truth in it. And we have truth. Now what we have to do, we have to be careful that we don't become those things that we dislike. Like the church. I was a super Christian, guys, when I was a Christian. You know, I was there all the time, involved very heavily. I was in one of the largest churches in America. When the door was open, I was there. I studied myself right out of the church. And I haven't looked back. I made a commitment to this path, and every time I wake up, I'm more and more convinced that I made the right decision. Because, you know, my karmic surfboard that I get on every day, I had a choice. Now, how many of you wake up every day, it's like, oh God, you know, I've got to face this, and I've got to face that, and I've got to face this. Well, life's full of trials and tribulation. It's just part of what is. But there's a difference. You either walk through the fire, or you kind of surf around the edge. Okay? And that's what I do. I hop on that karmic surfboard, and I ride that wave to the universe. And I get right up on the cusp of that fire and that problem, and I look down on it going, yeah, it's hot down there. And I go right around it, catch that next wave. Whoa. Man, I tell you, when I started developing that train of thought, everything changed for me. And I mean, just stuff was opening up, issues were going away. And that doesn't mean we're going to be problem-free. If there wasn't any problem, there wouldn't be any life. And it's kind of like the immortal words of the character that played in the Wide Earth. He said, there is no ordinary life. Why? There's just life. And it's the same thing with us, folks. There's just life every single day. But you get to choose what you're going to do in it. You get to wake up every day. You know, recently, how many of you, I know, this is kind of a woman question here, how many of you women watch Oprah? Come on now. If you watch her, I want to see your hand. Well, here recently she had a guy from the Dallas area. And he's, in religious circles, he's pretty famous, Bishop T.D. Jakes. And he made a statement, and he said, greatness is contagious if you get around it. You will catch it. It's like being in my happy place. I could, you know, when I was at the Lustration, and I was holding it in Fort Worth, let me tell you, there was so much that weekend it was a blur. You know, because you know, Reverend Don got there, he had not been used to my level of security, okay? He had shadows, and I think by the end of the week, he was kind of comfortable with it. But man, you know, when I started getting a little stressed, I didn't say anything to Reverend Mike. I just went and found my happy place. I got around it, and I was happy. You know, it kind of took that stress off, okay? This is what we have to do, folks. We have a job ahead of us. If we truly believe what we're doing, all right? If this is not just an us four no more organization, if we are going to walk the path of God, if we are going to grow our tradition, we have responsibility, each and every one of us, in the place that we're at. Because, frankly, let's be honest, you can't lead until you can follow. And you can't be entrusted to lead until you can show yourself trustworthy to lead. And then when you're asked to do something, you have to do it. Right?
Yep.
Let's be honest, okay? So when you walk away this weekend, you need to go away refreshed. You need to go away invigorated. You need to go away with a sense of, I'm here because I have a part, and it may be this right now, but it might be that later on. By next year, it could be this. Because you never know what's going to happen. Okay? I mean, look at all the changes that we've made from Lustration last year to right now in 12 short months. And the ship just cast off all of its ropes off the dock. We hadn't even left the harbor yet, but we're about to. Your choice is, do you want to be on the boat, or do you want to be on the shore waving? That's really where we're at. When you leave here, you go back to your respective temples, your Watan shrines and your proto temples. You're dealing with your other fellow pagans and Wiccans and the faith. Take what you got from this weekend, from every single person. Go back and be infectious. Go back and be great. You can do this. Our tradition will survive because you are here. As long as you are here, it will continue to thrive. Will it not?
Well,
as long as we continue to do our studies, we'll continue to learn and to grow. I mean, you know how many times I've done this third degree thing, folks? It's my 4th time. 4 different traditions. That's not including the Golden Dawn Adept, all the Masonic work I've done, everything. So what? When you stop studying? When you die? I'll get all the sleep I need that I have to have when I die. Okay? So quit moaning and quit groaning about what you got to do and get up and go do it. We got work to do. Thank you.
And in closing, this is a song I wrote for the illustration last year, and it's really, I think it's just a really great song to kind of follow up on that message and what we as Correllians are supposed to do. It's about kind of putting yourself out for other people and laying yourself down for other people and letting other people be what lifts you up. You are lifted as you lift other people. Yeah, I fall on you like painted blossoms blowing in the wind. Yeah, I fall around you like painted blossoms. Oh yeah, and I can see your sun. And I can feel your light, and I can breathe your moments. Now let me heal your side, and I can see your sun burning in your heart. So let me be the one who starts. Let me fall on you like painted blossoms. blowing in the wind. Let me fall around you like painted blossoms. Together we walk through this place. Let me help, 'cause I can feel your grace. And together we walk, together we fly. So arm in arm, let us soar. Let me fall on you like painted blossoms, blowing in the wind. Yeah, I fall around you like painted blossoms. Thank you.
Woo!
Follow. You done me and you bet I felt it. Tried so sharp in the heart that I melted. Fell right through the cracks. And I'm trying to get back. Before the gold done run out, I've been giving it my bestest. Nothing's gonna stop me but divine intervention. I reckon it's get my turn to learn some or learn some. I won't hesitate. No